Resiliency is the ability to bounce back, to overcome. We can teach it, we can acquire it, we can become resilient. The outcome that we are wanting to get is a child that will thrive.
We know that rates of depression and anxiety for kids are on the rise. We look at that data and we say up to a quarter of our kids are thinking about suicide. Some families lose their children, and that should never be.
Working with people who have multiple traumas in their life, it's that perspective shift about it's not what's wrong with them, it's about what experiences have they had and have they not had.
What trauma does is it softens us. It makes us more curious again, makes us more creative about how we respond. We don't immediately go to the stick and bang people on the heads over and over for things that are difficult for them. The truth is that we have scarce resources in the area of children's mental health. Instead of wringing our hands and saying, what are we going to do about it? How do we approach this from a more collective approach?
Collective Impact is a project that brought all kinds of programs together to work with goals that would intersect with each other so that we could build community together. Whenever you bring all your resources together, you increase the possibilities that something is going to happen.
They created the mechanism and the backbone and the structure for me to be more effective in mental health. The children are not the hard part. The hard part are the adults. When the adults are in concert with each other and understand this family and what they want really well, it's magic. But getting that circle of support, all the adults in the community on the same page about what the family and youth say they want and need, it's hard. That's where the work is.
Childcare providers take babies from 6 weeks on, and taking care of a child all day long is a tremendous responsibility. I was just in an observation in a daycare in Milwaukee, and this woman was taking care of 4 children. And the work that she was doing was not just feeding them and changing them and cleaning them. She was talking to them. She was hugging them. She was kissing them. She was nurturing them. How can you put a price on that? And yet we do. And we pay them minimal wages. Building resiliency in these communities, teaching skills is extremely important. In Collective Impact, we talk about all these issues. We have a lot of rules to change. We have a lot of mindsets to turn around.
Our oldest was a very intuitive, full of energy, spark in the eye, witty young man, a lot of fun, and had a lot of challenges. He was diagnosed with anxiety and ADHD and mild autism and struggled a lot with school and fitting in. My husband and I really couldn't imagine him living independently, so we thought he'd probably live in our basement the rest of our lives. In high school, he got very involved in gaming and sort of a gaming obsession. He would join different groups on Facebook and met a young woman, and he started talking with her, messaging a lot with her on Facebook, and that moved to talking quite a bit on the telephone, and then that moved to FaceTime and her being very much a part of our life via computer. And then eventually he did go out and meet her. We were at the airport terminal and he had now said goodbye to us and he's gonna go to his gate, can't go to the gate with him. And I stood there just staring at his back. Now most people thought, oh my gosh, this is a mother who can't just let her son go. And it was like, no, it was that he actually kept going. You know, when I look back and we look at how much he did that maybe at the time we couldn't see, because we're just in the wash of all of it, we realized he was making steps all along and that all those steps were building up to that moment that he really could leave us and leave his comfortable home life and take this huge leap. With Collective Impact, I'm a parent partner and I represent and bring then a family voice to the table along with other parent partners.
When I joined a couple years ago, I thought that the atmosphere for families and youth partners was polite. There wasn't like real meaningful engagement and even leadership That's changed. Agendas are created by, in tandem, professionals and folks with lived experience, and now they're running the meetings. And sharing what works and giving us critical feedback about designing services that make a difference for people.
School life was rough. Kindergarten age to 6th grade, I was in like 9 different schools. I had teachers that told me I was unteachable, that I was never going to succeed in life, and they would literally keep me locked in one of the detention rooms for the entire day. My 8th grade year, we got a new social or caseworker in. The first thing he said when he got to the table is, "Tell me some good things about this kid." And that was the first time my mom ever heard a teacher say something nice about me.
She brings the perspective of the young person who is challenged because she has special needs. And so here is the system that she's confronting. In many ways, she's our teacher. She's there, we are not. And many of us in the group don't have special needs.
I can be a mentor, especially to systems who've never had their feet in our little pond, and I can mentor their way through it through my perspective. Tips that I would recommend to others to involve youth would be compensation, having people with lived experience already at the table to help lead you, having training opportunities, allowing us time to learn and find our voice, and offering us speaking positions.
It's really about nothing about us without us, and making sure that our voice is always heard.
So stories like ALISON and the powerful presence that she brings not only informs us in terms of how we need to work, but leads us in new directions. If we grow into this, the conversations won't get easier, they'll get better. We're gonna find that alignment and connection, and we're gonna make it happen.